What are the challenges?
See, I think as I see, there are only two real challenges. The first challenge is pertaining to the regulatory situation in the country right now. And while India is evolving and trying to kind of make its norms more in line with the global regulatory norms, there is a bit of an issue in the sense that there is a chaotic period. It will still take us a couple of years probably to get to where the more developed Western countries are. So I think the regulatory situation and the uncertainty and the lack of predictability around it is one concern. And the second concern is that look, our market segment has been the mid-tier biotech companies, pharma companies, etc. But it would be challenging to penetrate the top 10 big pharma, particularly because of the fact that they have already penetrated the big relationships with Quintiles, with PPD, with Icon, some of these bigger CROs. And so getting them out of the preferred supplier contracts and letting them look at a younger CRO with a shorter track record, albeit almost equal performance and much better aggressive pricing, would be a tough challenge. So as I see, these are the two real challenges. Apart from that, this industry is big, there is a lot of growth happening, and I'm bullish about the overall macroeconomics of the industry.
How do you look at the opportunities?
See, there is a world of opportunity. As I mentioned, it's a 30 billion market globally. It is growing at 30% CAGR. You have some of the big consolidated players such as Quintiles, Icon, PPD. So there is nothing that can stop an Indian CRO to become a truly global, scaled-up CRO. If I were to draw the parallel from the IT business, earlier it was the Accentures of the world, but then companies such as Infosys, Wipro, TCS did grow to a couple of $1 billion and now are giving some of these incumbent players a hard competition. So similarly, I believe that this is a huge opportunity. And the other part is that there are so many new things happening. So when you look at it, there is personalized medicine, there is this whole biomarkers, genomic signatures, prognostic signatures. So there is so much to be done really in this industry. And as a matter of fact, diseases will not end. There will be more complex strains, there will be newer diseases. So the clinical trial business is here to stay.
How would you like to analyze pharma industry?
See, the pharma industry has always been one of the more stable industries for the simple reason that just like people will not stop eating food, people will not stop eating medicines. So I think India again is the 14th largest pharma player globally. In the next 8 to 10 years, there are predictions that we could be on the top 5 global pharma companies in the world. And also the development is changing, shifting, Earlier, discovery and research was all happening in the West. It was monocentric, it was concentrated, it was capital intensive. Now it is moving to a distributed model where the emerging markets, be it Brazil, be it Russia, India, China, some of these companies will emerge as the new drivers for innovation, and it will become more of a distributed innovation model. It will become polycentric, it will be idea intensive and not capital intensive. And we would be right at the top. So again, very, very bullish about the fundamentals of the pharma industry. And the other thing I would like to highlight is that while globally the industry is growing at between 5 to 7%, in India the growth is at 12 to 13%, which is almost double. So I think the sky is the limit.
How do you foresee growth of your company 3 years from now?
See, 3 to 5 years from now, what we are expecting to see Karmic as a 100 million plus revenue company with more than 200 plus clinical programs in our kitty at any given point of time. And we expect to have global operations, almost 250 team. And more importantly, we would have a very strong scientific and medical part to the team. So I'm expecting that at least 20% of my staff would be PhDs, MDs, MBBSs, etc. And we definitely hope to be profitable and kind of serve the society in many different ways.
What are the advantages of being first generation entrepreneur?
There are actually no advantages. In a way, it is seen as a disadvantage But I would like to say something here, that when you don't have any precedence and anyone in the family doing business, and when the success does happen, at least you can take 100% credit for it. As an example, a Mukesh Ambani or an Anil Ambani still cannot claim that they are responsible for what Reliance is today. Dhirubhai Ambani was the person that we would all probably look at when you talk about Reliance. In my case, or in the case of a first generation entrepreneur, if Karmic becomes big, then I think all the credit would come to me personally, and also of course the team that supports it. But I think not having a family background in a way lets you be independent and do your own thing, which is what according to me entrepreneurship is all about.
Any other important highlight you may like to share?
I think since I have this forum, I would like to only say two things. For the younger generation. Firstly, follow your dreams. I think the younger generation is still very worried about financial security, peer pressure, family kind of pressures, and hence not so many people are going into entrepreneurship. I think more than 10-fold of the current number of entrepreneurs should be visible in this country. That's the first thing. The second thing is that when I look at some of my batchmates from MBA, I look at some of my peers in GE, in Wipro, in Hexaware, many of them prefer to live in the West. And I still wonder, because they say it's a lifestyle issue. Look, I have lived in New York. I have been traveling across the globe for the last 10 years plus. But I don't think that the luxury of the life in India can be replicated anywhere. So I think this is a stupid notion, and it is high time that you come back to India and give back to your country. This is at least my personal belief.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.